Hi, I'm Moon Svanström, a UX and product designer. Today we are going to be prototyping with variants and auto layout in Figma. So let's do this. You know how every page has a Q&A about frequently asked questions that company gets? I thought we'd experiment with something like that. Figma has released something really cool called variants, where you can make different variants of a component. And this week at work, I was experimenting with that feature when I was making a Q&A, frequently asked questions page. I can't show you what the work I did for my client, but we can make something similar but different in this video. Okie dokie, let's start. Give me an artboard. I went on Forbes and collected these questions that are going to be featured in our Q&A page that we are making. And you shall not be white, you shall be pink, because I want you to be something like that. Okay, so now to the actual questions. So I'm thinking I want to design these questions to be kind of like accordion style questions. So you can quickly search for the question you want, like scan the page and not have to read all the answers, but just go straight for the ones that you're most interested in. Which makes more sense for a company rather than this when all the questions are about me, but hey, maybe you're just not that interested in my answers. So all the questions will be like this down here. Whoop, that's not nice. And yeah, like this. Okay, so I'm thinking the question should look something like this. Now let's take this and make it into a component. So I just double click it and create component. Now this is the component question. Now what's new is over here, variants in the right hand menu. So I just click that, and just like that, it makes a copy of it. And now this is a variant of that first component. So the variant I want is the question with the answer. So here I will make another text element. And I want this to be double height. So I'll just ×2. Whoa, that looks... The properties I want my answer to have is that I want the text to be top aligned, and I want it to have an auto height. So that way when I paste my answer here, it'll stay at the same height but go like continue down. Okay, I'll name this one question and this one answer. Okay, so how do I want this to work? I have a question here that I just copy pasted in there. And when I click this, go to prototype. So on click, open overlay, question, and it should not be centered, it should be manual. That means it'll go right where that one is. Nice, let's try it out. So I click it, it opens. Nice. And if I click this, it should close that overlay. All right, let me add some more questions. Okay, so now I've added a couple of questions here. When you have a repetitive design like this, it is the perfect usage of auto layout. So I just mark these, and first I organize them, and then I get this option, auto layout. So I click that, and now when I can reorganize these it doesn't matter where I try to drop it here, it'll just like snap into this layout where they are in a straight line like this. And over here I can set the distance that they should have in between. So I mark my auto layout and they should have maybe pretty tight 4 pixels between them. So how do you actually insert a component into your design? Well, you go up here to this tab, Assets, and here you can see Local Components, and I can mark question and just drag it in here. Just like that, you've inserted your component. So now I can mark that, go to this bit here, and mark answer instead. And just like that, I have the answer component instead of the question. But right now I think it should be the question, so we change it back. Okay, so here are all our questions inserted, and I want this not to fix position when scrolling so I can always see it. Nice. And I can click that and it'll change. And I need both of these to have the number 1. Not good. You can see that that text went down a little bit. We don't want that. So I need to make sure that they are aligned properly in the 2 components. But what's good about using components and variants like this is if I change it here, it'll change everywhere. So it'll change here as well where it is in use. So that's 41 down, and I need it to be 37. So did you see that? When I move it here in the component, it also moves down here and it's down here in its child. So that should be the same as here. So 37. Okay. Yes, now that text is not moving when I click this open. Great. Now, of course, you may argue that this is not a proper accordion effect because this just is over question number 2. But there is a reason I'm doing it this way, because if let's copy question number 2, going to change the property to answer. So when I'm not working, how do you like to spend your time? Okay, and then we'll do number 3 as well. Okay, let's try prototyping these 3. So this will on click, open overlay, not center, but manual, close when clicking outside, and when I click you, close overlay. So I need better margins over here. This looks like crap. So the good thing is that I just change it over here. Wait, let me move these so they're over here. Here are those. And when I change this over here, changes down here too. Let's add some more variants that could be good for other answers. So let's say I write a really long answer to a question. Oh, that's too long. So this is double the height as this one, so this should be 96 times 3. Expand that. And this should, of course, still be 37 from the top. So maybe you want to be able to add an image into an answer in a Q&A. Why not? So let's make a version of this one. Okay, like that. And let me expand that, and this one. No. Okay, so I need to set these so that they are at have the constraints to the top so that they don't expand downward so they don't stretch when I resize this one. So now I can change that and they stay where they are. Okay, let's add an image here. Around in the corners. And this should be bottom aligned. And then when I change this, it'll stay in this. Goody good. So that's an image placeholder. Why did I leave a little gap there? Because I think I want one with 2 images as well. So that should have 16 to the edge and 16, and then there will be 8 between the images. Nice. Okay, so there are all our variants, but make sure to name your variants because the default name is like variant 3, variant 4, variant 5, and that's not helping anyone. So let's name these something understandable. This is long answer, image answer, 2 image answer. And how does this list sort itself? Well, now in the order that I added them, but if you want to reorganize that list, you mark this here, and then you can reorganize it like that. I can also rename property 1 and call it Q&A module. So now this will be Q&A module question, Q&A module answer, long answer, image answer, 2 image answer. Righty, righty, let's add some more answers. I'll copy that, change it to answer. 4, where I most hope to visit. Canada! What is my favorite 90s TV show? Gilmore Girls. I know it's not a 90s show, but it started in 2000, so that's almost 90s. Had to say it though, because it's so awesome. So this one, we want to have a double image, 2 image answer. And to insert the image into this placeholder, I just click that fill, go to image, choose an image. Maybe I need to change the image proportions. Like so. So that's me as a troll. My best Halloween costumes. Either my 2018 troll or my 2017 werewolf. Yes, definitely my favorite Halloween costumes. I think I want to add a very short answer module as well. So let's make a copy of this one and plus remove some text. And this shall be 92, like the answer. And this one shall be known as short. So I'll change this one to short answer. Okay, so here are all the answers to all the questions. Now, for prototyping, there are two ways that you would get an accordion effect. And one is to make a shitload of artboards. Okay, let's make these another color, just so I can demonstrate that I have two different ideas going on here. We have 14 questions, so we need 15 artboards, which is a lot of artboards. That will get me there, that will get me there. And I would have a gazillion artboards and one artboard showing each answer. But we would get the correct effect here with the accordion style, that it actually pushes stuff down. And that's great to show the real effect that we want. But depending on if we're okay to compromise and make our workspace less cluttered and not have to make 15 different artboards, that's why I'm opting for this style, where we open an overlay right over top the question instead. Sorry about that. Here instead, I'm opening an overlay right on top of the question to avoid having a workspace that is really hard to manage. This makes it, for me, a little bit easier to understand where I edit the answers to the questions, and instead of having to scroll a bazillion artboards. Now let me add all of the interactions here. Okay, hey cat, are you going to be in this video? So this is Arnold. He is the fluffy cat I mention in my answers. Thank you for helping. It's harder to design when you have a cat on your arm, but it's totally doable, I promise. Okay, let's try this out. What do you think, Arnold? Is this good? Okay, trying this out. So what are the compromises? The compromises here are that this overlay is an overlay, so it's on top of the other questions. You need 2 clicks to open the next question. But that depends on why you're doing a prototype. Is it to get an idea of how it should work, or are you prototyping to get the feel of the thing that, no cats on the keyboard. There we go. Or is it to get a feel for spooning? Or is it to get a feel for the effect that you're going to build later on? So in this version, we get a pretty, oh, that's a mistake, number 8. Yeah, Arnold, you're so adorable. That should not be, you navigate to, it should be open overlay, manual. Also, have an interaction, on click, close overlay. If you have a Q&A for a company's page, then it makes sense to have this where you can scan and find the question that you're looking for. Right now, this is more of an interview with myself because there's nobody else here to interview. Well, there's Arnold, but he's not very good at answering questions, so I had to opt for interviewing myself. Then we have a pretty neat Workspace, where we can just have one page of questions and one column of all the answers, and they open on click, rather than having 15 different artboards to get the right effect that we were going for. So in this prototype, we are using an auto layout to make sure that the questions are in the right place, and we have a variant that is an answer to each question. So now you can you can go find the question that you are most interested in. For instance, do you want to know what was my first job? Click that question and you will find out that my first job was an assistant at a real estate office. If you want to know what I'm doing when I'm not working, you just click this question. Well, you can see that I love horseback riding, building brutalist houses in Minecraft, and teaching this fluffy cat Arnold to do tricks with silly commands like pose like Backstreet Boys and stuff like that. You can also find out what my best Halloween costume was, and I would say it's my 2018 troll or my 2017 werewolf. What do you think? And just like that, you can find the question that you're most interested in and check that out. So what are the risks of using variants? Well, and auto layout like this? Well, it looks super clean and simple when I get into this work file, but if people don't know that these are components and that if I change it here, it changes everywhere, that would be bad for us in the future. So maybe don't keep your components right next to here. I would put that on a separate page if this was a real project. If I don't know how auto layout works, then this could be super confusing. Why is it not moving the way, like where I want it to? Why can I not do the design changes that I want? That would be confusing for somebody else if they opened your file. So when you use components and variants and auto layout, you have made your design document a bit harder to understand. So I would recommend you to write comments in your file to explain to people who you work with what you've done so that they can go in and edit the file at a later point. It's just good form to write some comments in your file to help people understand what's going on in your artboards. Please help your teammates. I mean, that's the whole point of Figma, so that we can collaborate more and people can learn from you and your designs. So always write a quick note in your Figma files. And with that, I hope you've liked this video. Me and Arnold really appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you next time. If you have more questions for me and want a proper Q&A, please ask them in the comments below. And if you want to see what I've actually answered to all of these questions, please check out my Figma file. I'm Uns Swanström. Thank you for watching. You're so nice and sweet and floofy. Oh, you want to hug me?